Okay, well, they want me to talk about calcium, which I feel like I kind of already did, but I guess I can give you this version. So that's my SR, it's my sarcomeres, whatever, right? So your action potential comes down, right? Whatever binds to the N1, it's probably the N1. And so then what's going to happen is it's going to cause you to open some voltage-gated calcium channels. And so these voltage-gated calcium channels are going to come in, and it's going to bind to your RYR, which is then going to open your RYR so that calcium can then be released. This is called, I'll draw my little purple or my pink, those are my calcium dots. So this is called my calcium-induced calcium release, because I needed the extracellular calcium to bind to my RYR in order for this calcium to be released. Then it's going to bind there, you know, tropomyosin, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have a contraction. Then it's going to pop off. You're going to have a cute little pump, your Circa pump, that's going to pump it in there. And you still have your sodium potassium pump, so that's super cool. But then you're also going to have a new channel, and it's going to pump out calcium in exchange for sodium. And then those same molecules will then go out in your potassium pump exchange. So that's your calcium-induced calcium release. This is different than smooth muscle, and so is this. So it's, well, I guess okay, so the voltage-gated calcium, usually it's sodium that causes your action potential, right? This is different. You don't usually have your calcium-induced calcium release. Usually it's the ryanodine that moves, and then you also don't have this in skeletal muscle. So those are the three main differences and kind of what's happening in there. Okay, that's basically it. So now we're going to talk about our cardiac cycle. I love the cardiac cycle. So you're going to have your pressure, you're going to have your volume, and you're going to have your EKG. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit to draw this, so have fun listening. Sorry, sister's texting me. Okay, this is called your atrial systole. Systole means squeeze, so during this time, your atrium is going to contract, which is going to cause the pressure to go up, and then it's going to go blah, 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 until it's then going to repeat again. Ventricular pressure follows about the same thing, except for right here where it's going to cross, and then it's going to raise up like this, and then it's going to cross back down, and then again it's going to follow pretty much the same thing, blah, blah, blah. At this point right here, this is when your mitral valve is going to close, right? Because if it stays open, well, this right here is systole and this is diastole. Systole means squeeze, you're about to contract, and if I'm going to contract my ventricles, well, then I really want that valve to be closed, otherwise I'm going to get backflow and it's going to go the wrong way, and that's not good. Up here is my aortic pressure. It's a lot higher because of peripheral resistance, and then it's going to go like that, and then you're going to go whoop, like that. About right here is where my aortic semilunar valve is going to open, and then right here is when it's going to close, and this is also referred to as the dichrotic notch. Your space right here, I'll highlight it so that you can see what I'm talking about. This space right here is called your isovolumic contraction, because you are contracting and your pressure is rising, but both valves are closed during this time and there's nowhere for it to go. So that's called your isovolumic contraction, and then this is your isovolumic relaxation, because all the valves again are closed. It's going to open right here, mitral valve is going to open right there, but your pressure is decreasing because you're starting to relax, except for, but yeah, all the valves are closed, so the volume is not going to do anything. Dichrotic notch is super cool. Your dichrotic notch kind of tells you the peripheral resistance. Your body is a closed loop system. There's really nowhere for the pressure to go. It may decrease like the further away you go from your heart, but it won't be like that low. It usually stays at about around 80. But you can tell if you're having internal bleeding or not based on this. For example, if I had to cut my femoral artery, or I don't know, my spleen, that's a bad one, and I had an internal bleeding, but you couldn't see it, you could tell based on this dichrotic notch, because it would be a lot lower, because again, it's a closed loop system. It shouldn't be going that low unless that closed loop system has been breached. For your volume, you've got this part right here, your atrium squeeze, so you get a little top off, and then it's going to remain the same because all the valves are closed. Then you've got your systole, right? Pressure's rising, you're ejecting all that blood, so it's going to go down. Then you've got that same isovolumic because none of the valves are open. This mitral valve is then going to open, and I'm going to go la la la, I'm going to inflow. I'm going to get a little bump, and it's going to repeat. This part right here is called my passive inflow. This right here is called my active inflow. Think about it like orange juice. In this one, you just have your cute little cup, right? And you are just casually pouring some orange juice in from the pitcher. That's a pitcher. Okay, but over here, you take an actual cup and you take an actual orange and you have to squeeze the orange to get it in there. That's what I think of for active versus passive. For your EKG, you've got your P wave, you've got your QRS complex, and then you've got eventually your T wave. EKGs are not measuring contraction, people. They're measuring electrical signals. So your P wave should occur before you have this contraction. Your QRS should occur before that contraction, and then you've got your T wave. Then you have your lub-dub sounds. The first heart sound is the sound of the mitral valve closing. The second sound is the sound of your semilunar valve closing, and then occasionally you can hear like a little swoosh. In younger kids, it's the sound of the blood hitting the walls. In older people, it'll sound like, maybe it'll be like that, like a gallop, and that means that they have high blood pressure, that their walls are rigid, it's probably a bit thicker. So that's what that gallop means. So that's it for your cardiac cycle.